a scion of many worlds. Why did you have to say it that way? Has no concept of tempting fate been developed here in Bright Dawn? Emmanuel asks, in a pained voice. I don't let childish superstition temper my speech, the councilwoman of Bright Dawn states. Granted, she's much closer to an oligarch or retired pirate queen, but she's still a major politician of import, and after the riots was one of the last women standing. She's also the only one that arrived to the meeting with any promptness, as Bright Dawn is apparently trying to snub him. Maybe they're pissy that he got his claws on the shuttle and gave it to the grand midwives. Not like they were going to keep it anyways. The breakaway empire was about to claim it themselves, courtesy of a spy that shot him in the stomach before so much as saying hello or telling him to back off. Maybe so, but there is no concern about the building storm off the coast, and if there's any storm coming, it's likely your doing. One of the other surviving councilwomen accuses him. Excuse me, he asks. Did you think we didn't know? The councilwoman demands as she rises up. She's a Hydro Nagasha who's gone so far down the pirate cosplay line, she has a tricorn hat, eye patch, striped shirt, a patchy coat, and everything. Also, she's hiding a pistol. A laser pistol. Yes, but she's got a pistol and is hiding something the general size and shape of a sword in an axiom pocket. She's only missing the accent to be 100% pirate snake of the Caribbean, which honestly is kind of why he's amused by her, despite the fact she's a flaming bitch. She's honest about it at least. Not that he's going to let her know that. She'll likely use it as an excuse to try and shank him, and it would be annoying to have someone constantly poking him with a chunk of sharp metal. He can still feel through his fur after all. Invulnerable or not, he can still feel. Know what? What you can do? Keep narrowing it down. He tells her, and she rises up on her tail to his own level to glare at him, for all of 3 seconds, as having so much of her body off the ground massively unbalances her, and she falls to the side. She lands on the wing he snaps out and steadies herself, even as the dust coats the front of her shirt. The glare he gets from the woman is immense, and she infuses some axiom in it to mildly ignite the air around his head. Now what are you accusing me of? Conjuring the hurricane, perhaps? Aha, a confession, if I ever heard one. No illogical deduction based on your sheer overreaction to my presence, he states with an unamused tone. Still, I know when I'm not welcome. If you don't want me here, let's not go that far, Lord Blue. The third and final surviving councilwoman states, and he turns to regard her. The Fossa woman was the most businesslike. To be honest, species and gender aside, she was a powdered wig away from running part of the East India Trading Company. If the first was the politician and the second a pirate, this one was the businesswoman. Power, plunder, and profit. The 3 reigning concerns of this realm. Then how far should we go? We just have some concerns is all. Your dominion is immense. Miru is of equal size to... He begins, and she outright scoffs at him. Oh, please, the influence you have peddled, the favors you have won. Our little collection of islands is the only land upon Lacran that would not eagerly answer your call. You are the emperor of this world in all but name. The Serpent Empress regards you as an equal and one she owes a debt to. The breakaway empire is in awe of your combat prowess and the knowledge you have freely gifted. You have shattered the slaver empire as a favor to the free trade cities, and they now drown in debt to you. Miru is of course yours, but the Goldlands see you as so kindly a trade partner they will fight to keep you on that throne. To say nothing of the famine you broke in Greenstone and the sheer dignity with which you have treated them. The mountain clans are all but singing that you've taken one of their own as a bride, and let's not even get into how tightly bound you are to the grand midwives and star seekers. It is only here in Bright Dawn that your praises are not sung, and even we know to be cautious. No mention of the other Urthani? Oh, please. Last I heard, you were attempting to stymie the rise of a church dedicated to your grandeur. You don't even need to tell the Orthani to jump. They're jumping already, in case the mood strikes you to tell them to, she states. Fair enough. Yes, Bright Dawn is the last place that I don't have any form of real power. So you admit to be here to conquer? The pirate declares. I said no such thing, Emmanuel counters. Calm yourself, Boyle Coil. Our big guest here is a different sort, an amusing sort. Oh? The politician asks. Can't you see it, Gorty? He's a humble hero, isn't it cute? You just need to say someone's in danger somewhere and he's halfway there before you're done telling him. Oh, I bet we're going to get a speech about how you're just a soldier, or about how what you did was only the most reasonable course of action, or how you just want to help. Go on. Say it. Tell us how much of a self-sacrificing scion you are. Go on, she states, and he slowly narrows his eyes at her. Or just try to tell me I'm wrong. Let's see what kind of liar you are. And what have you made? He asks. Pardon? You seem to be of the opinion that honor, dignity, justice, and duty are all a sucker's game. Or am I putting words in your mouth? Are you putting words in my mouth? I don't know Mr. Moth, are you? She asks, and he snorts in derision. I see. Well, clearly, offering aid here is a waste of time. I'll move the relief ships and their bounties away from here. Now hold on. Let's not get hasty here. Oh, so you want to both insult me until I leave, but you want the sheer wealth and prosperity I bring to stay behind. How interesting, Emmanuel notes. What do you want, Mr. Blue, or is it Skitterway? Perhaps Undaunted will do instead? I'm afraid I'm entirely unwilling to call you anything related to divine, however. I'd be more disgusted if you were willing. Skitterway will do, he says before standing tall. As for what I want to pull Lacran out of this dark age and remake it into a proper player on the galactic stage. Under the heel of yourself, or your master, I assume. The businesswoman interrupts him, and he lets out a huff of amusement. And whom would you have lead this world? Yourself, perhaps? Do you wish to face the quite literally unending armies of fools, heroes, and monsters that are even now descending upon this world? I'd rather not, she states. Very wise, but whom? Oh, I know. Perhaps the Queen of Miru? Oh, wait, I deposed her, took her crown, and then took her as my adoptive child. Perhaps someone with more dignity then? Isarizane of the White Flow, perhaps? Also known as the Serpent Empress? The eternal queen and mother of all Nagasha of Lacran. She's quite dignified, wore a veil and everything to hide her uncontrollable weeping. That wouldn't work either. She's too concerned with the Nagasha to pay much attention to the rest of the world. Ah, good. I'm glad you recognize that. Emmanuel compliments her. Now then, Helen, isn't it? Now then, Helen, who do you think is best placed to represent Lacran as a whole? What major political player on this world should have the most power over it? Because for the life of me, I can't think of one that won't massively favor one side or another, and most of them will not favor Brightstone at all. You're nowhere near as vile as the slavers were, but your raiding, reaving, and general standoffish nature has won you few friends. I get it, Helen says in an angry tone. Now who could possibly be considered a party that's at least somewhat impartial to all this, that might consider your interests and needs alongside and not after the others? Emmanuel asks rhetorically. That's enough. The point is made, she states. Is it now? You're clearly a rare soul in that you're a moderately intelligent woman. But you seem to be a little too clever for your own good. Remember which side your bread is buttered on, especially with me and my fellows around. I may be the hardest one to hurt, but I have the least interesting toys of the lot. My brother can destroy cities from beyond the horizon, and that's if he's feeling lazy. The others are just as bad. You don't even want to know the sickening things warfire can do to skin, to say nothing of the side effects of being hit by a grazer beam. To compare it to the laser pistol Boyle Coil has hidden on her, a laser is a candle, a grazer is an erupting volcano. Helen sucks in a sudden breath, and her ears plaster back before sticking up straighter than ever. Oh, that's what's going on. I knew I was smelling opportunity. You put it together then? Emmanuel asks. You've said others are coming, fools, heroes, and monsters. You want us to counter. Not quite. I want everyone ready to deal with it on their own terms. Think of it like this. For every one person that has a sane, sober, and intelligent plan on what to do to actually help out Lacron and its peoples, there will be 10 fools following them around and trying to help. 3 self-interested idiots that will likely make things worse, and at least 1 actively malicious person. He explains, and all 3 councilwomen are looking very thoughtful. This is not you asking us to pick on a specific rube, is it? I'm trying to unify Lacran more and more so that when they arrive, they won't have an easy time taking advantage of us. Us, bold words from the giant bug that fell down from the heavens in a crystal casket. Boyle Coil half snarls at him. Challenging words from a woman whose goddess and ancestress regards herself as being deep in my debt. Emmanuel returns. I do not worship the first serpent. She's a failure. Eternal life and nothing to show for it but a broken queendom. A queendom broken only due to her unwillingness to fight against her own children or place them in danger. Emmanuel answers, and the scowl he receives from the Hydro Nagasha pirate is one for the record books. But just to be clear, you want me and mine to feel like outsiders on Lacron and therefore not included in its struggles? No, Boyle Coil states. That would be a terrible idea, but don't expect us to bow. Relax. We're years away before the first conversations that even consider things like taxation come in. Right now, it's all rebuilding, education, protection, and support. Taxation? To be discussed much later. Right now is making sure that the relief sent is properly used. The oncoming hurricane was just to get your foot in the door and speak to us, wasn't it? Gertie asks, as she pinches the bridge of her nose in frustration. Yes, but there really is a hurricane coming, and I really do have eyes in the sky that let me track it. And you really can give us access to these? Helen asks. Yes. It uses librariums, doesn't it? Communicators. Yes. Do you have any idea how much the value of librariums has absolutely cratered since you came along? Just last year, people were willing to risk their lives or take lives to earn one. Now, every idiot is going to have one at this rate. That's the general idea. The idea is to have plenty for all. But if everyone has something, it's not counted as plenitude so much as something normal. No one's fighting over air or sunlight, we all have it. It has no worth. Actually, it has immense worth. But everyone is richer for having it. Emmanuel rebukes, and Helen outright scoffs at him for that. That's not how value works. It's supply and demand. With the overabundance of supply, the demand is undone, and the value as a trade resource is undone. To say nothing of the people that feel immensely cheated for paying high, to have one and then having the value of their purchase suddenly be reduced to nearly nothingness. And what would you have me do? Restrict a ubiquitous tool that's used the galaxy over and is going to be in the hands of everyone coming to Lacran? Limiting communicators is at best a bandage on a bloody stump. Nigh useless. I understand. But that doesn't mean we haven't had to break up several battles between furious ship captains who feel cheated. That's not a situation that has a clean answer beyond the bad actors smartening up or getting smacked down, Emmanuel states. I've already spread the knowledge on how to make more. They've lost their rarity, and if some people have lost out for that, then that's unfortunate, but not something I can take back or undo. But you do not have responsibility for others throwing a fit because they feel cheated. There is a hard line of when I am and am not responsible for the actions of another, and a person I've never met, never interacted with, and never seen is not someone I can be blamed over them acting poorly.